Welcome to Adventures by D, everybody. I'm so excited. It's a special Father's Day vlog. In homage to my dad, who was a huge Elvis fan, I brought myself and Madison to a special place in Tupelo, Mississippi. This is his birthplace where he lived till he was 13, and they moved to Memphis. But there's so much to see here. We're going to go inside the shotgun house where he was born. We're going to see the nice museum they have, and then also check out his church and a bunch of the cool historical Elvis artifacts. So if you're getting ready for the movie this weekend, you'll want to stay tuned to the vlog and see all the history and where it all started right here in Tupelo for the king of rock and roll. So stay tuned for this Elvis Aaron Presley adventure. So here's a replica of the car they moved from Tupelo to Memphis in. It's not the actual car, but would have been like the Plymouth. He was Memphis bound. There he is as a child. There he is in Graceland. Tupelo to Graceland. Here's a marker for the fan club here as you walk into the gift shop and the visitor center. So we're the entryway of the welcome center of the gift shop. So we cannot take pictures or video in the museum or the gift shop. So we'll describe those once we go through. Here's another look at the grounds though. So Madison, before we go in the actual house that his dad built, there's also markers that mark specific places in time each year for Elvis and what happened. And this is all around the house here. We got the porch swing. This is the shotgun house. Madison's first time. I haven't been here one time, a long time ago. So, you ready to see where he was born? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the house was built by Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, and then Vernon's father and brother all together in 1934. Vernon borrowed $180 from his boss at the time for all of the materials to build the house. And then he built it here on this spot. So where the house is standing right now is where it has always been. It's never moved at all. In 1935, Elvis and his twin brother Jesse were born in this room here. But Jesse was stillborn, so it was just Elvis and his parents. They only lived in this house for about 3 years because Vernon was sent to prison for a little while for check forgery. So then they were not able to pay back the money he had borrowed in the first place, and they lost the house. It was repossessed. Elvis, he was about 2, almost 3 years old, like in the picture right up there, when they left here. After that, Elvis and his mother, they moved in with some family members until Vernon was released from prison. And once he was, they all stayed here in Tupelo and just moved around the area to other houses a lot. until Elvis was 13 years old, and that's when they decided to move to Memphis. Now, when they moved, they sold most of what they had, so the furniture in here is not theirs, but it's from the same time period, so it all looks very similar. And then Vernon came back here and he set everything up the way that he remembered it, so that way all of it looks as close to the way it did back then as possible. The only things in the house that are still original now is this fireplace here and the stove and icebox right over there in the kitchen. If you guys have questions about anything at all, just let me know, and when you're ready, you go out through that door there. Okay.
So I have two questions. You said the house was not moved. It's
Yes.
been here the whole
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Okay. And is that the original photograph on the wall?
Not the original, it is a copy.
Okay.
You said the
Thank you, Abby.
Vernon came back here and
So here's the door out.
Small house.
That's it, right? What do you think, Madison? 2 rooms. So what'd she say was original here? The icebox and the stove?
Yes.
So check out that stove. So I always heard the house was moved here, but I guess I was wrong. Check out that icebox over there. You might know it as a refrigerator these days. No power, hence putting ice in to keep things cold.
So Elvis was going right here in this room. Very room.
They all shared it? Well, because Elvis was a baby, I think around like before the food function, so they used to pull out one of the doors out there. And then they used to have this.
Rooms. So Madison, what did you think of the birth house?
Really small.
Can you imagine living in a 2-room house like that?
No.
Pretty cozy confines, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing where he came from and then what he became, and then here's the much photographed historical marker. I think I read he borrowed $180, Vernon, his dad, to build that with $180 in material. So this is a life-size statue. So Elvis was a pretty tall boy. And this is his height at 13. Definitely over 5.5 foot. So let's take a look at some of the historical markers around the walk here. Raised on country here in Tupelo, first introduced as a hillbilly cat, then by Arcia Victor as the hottest new name in country music. Elvis Presley's revolutionary music mix always had country as a key ingredient. Appearing on the country charts over 50 times, Presley's music pushed traditional country towards the modernizing Nashville sound which followed the pop, if not the rock and roll path he'd fashioned. Elvis would record the country songs he loved throughout his career. Mississippi Blues. Elvis and the Blues. Elvis Presley revolutionized popular music by blending the blues he first heard as a youth in Tupelo with country, pop, and gospel. Many of the first songs Elvis recorded for the Sun label in Memphis were covers of earlier blues recordings by African Americans, and he continued to incorporate blues into his records and live performances for the remainder of his career. So here's the church that they did move here. It was his church as a child. There's a presentation in there, but you can't film it. It's a multimedia presentation of what a church service might have been like, a shortened service for Elvis. And I guess that's where he began his love for gospel music in the church. They brought it here and it looks like in 2008 Madison. Madison, this is an outhouse. My grandma had one of these. They do have a chapel. I don't know. And here's just a peek inside the chapel. So it was dedicated back in '79. I'm gonna have to talk over his music in here, but yeah, it's a nice place to reflect and pray. And you see the other side of the beautiful stained glass. There are a couple pews. And the fountain of life over here. We have made it to the top of the lawn, looking back down on the Welcome Center and the church and everything basically. There's also a pavilion. If you bring lunch, you can eat over here in the shaded area. And there's some meditation gardens. I'll just get a couple shots to the right as we walk out. But what we walked all the way up here for is the iconic kind of an Elvis double statue. Him at 13 and then the classic 70 Vegas Elvis. Becoming, I think is the name of it, right? Him as a child just leaving Tupelo, and then him as the in his prime in Vegas with those unbelievable outfits. And then you can see here a little documentation of the guitar his mother bought for him at 11 in the Tupelo hardware store in downtown Tupelo right here. And then talks about the statues, shares one name called Becoming, how he transformed from the boy to the entertainer. And then over here it charts his mucho accomplishments. I mean, the hits and the record sales. And he did win a few Grammys for his gospel recordings, but just the fandom and all his records and his touring and just being the #1 entertainer in the world for so long. This statue, double statue, is awesome. Hopefully the video does it justice. I'll back up here and give you a little long shot at it. They do have a nice reflections garden. Very peaceful. Let's check that out. Bridge over troubled waters. Madison, what did you think of Elvis Presley Birthplace, everything that's here?
It was really cool. It was a lot smaller than I thought it would be, but it still turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it's right here in Tupelo, not too far from the interstate, probably 5 or 6 miles. We showed you everything that we could. They didn't allow photos or videos in the museum or in the church during the presentation, but we showed you the grounds. We showed you plenty of the house, the shotgun house where he was born, all the awesome statues and the markers that are outside. And it was a beautiful Father's Day here in Tupelo. I want to say happy Father's Day. And also enjoy the Elvis movie coming out. By the time this gets loaded up to YouTube, the movie's probably out or premiering, so I'm looking forward to it. They were excited about it here in Tupelo when they talked about it. You like my Elvis glasses, Madison?
Yes, I do.
$12 in the gift shop. And then we also got a couple t-shirts that were $24 a piece. Here's my t-shirt. Actually, this is Madison's t-shirt. Why did you like this t-shirt, Maddie?
I don't know. That looked cool.
Cool. It's, to me, this is the vintage Vegas outfit. Vintage Vegas Elvis. And then I got a more basic black and white Elvis shirt to wear. I think this is him from the 68 comeback special, maybe, in the iconic black leather outfit. Both those are $24, and the glasses were actually $12.95, so let's call them $13. Gold or silver, and then they come with or without the sideburns. I mentioned this earlier, but this is kind of a rite of passage in my family. I'm so happy to be here at Father's Day because my dad was a huge Elvis fan, so I'm passing that along. Like, if you want to do the Elvis Trail, as I call it, I would start here in Tupelo. Memphis is not too far from here, and I'd head up to Memphis. If you could do that all in one weekend, that's awesome, but anytime it's great. So I super enjoyed it. I'm a huge Elvis fan. You learn all about his first 13 years here in Tupelo, and it's extremely well done. So recommend it highly. The prices weren't bad at all.
It was everything for 20.
Was it everything for 20? Excuse me, everything for $20 for an adult. That's the museum, house, and the church.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you so much. So until the next... Not prompted at all. Until the next adventure, Madison, what do we want to say?
May the adventures be with you.
Have a great Father's Day, everybody.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and
Ringing a bell.
so you'll be notified of our next upload. And as always, may the adventures be with you.